Oh, we're on. Oh, did I blank out? Did I not know what I was doing? Hey, what's up, everybody? I hope you guys doing great. My audio is probably too loud. Let me turn it down a little bit. How you guys doing? How you guys doing? How you guys doing? The few of you that are in here in the chat, uh, you know. Anyway, while we let everybody to jump in, we'll just say hello to everybody. If you guys could hear me, see me, music's not too loud or too quiet, my voice works, let me know in the comments if you're here. If you're not here, that's okay. We're going to start. Today is going to be an excellent live. So if you don't get to see it live and you get to see it afterwards, and I'm probably going to make a lot of clips from this video because I want to talk to you guys about the most important thing. If nobody knows who you are, how is someone supposed to hire you? Number one. Number two is, how do you get experience when you're trying to get a job and people asking for 2-3 years of experience? Like, how do you get started? Like, what do you do? Like, how do you start building experience when you yourself don't have experience? And this is what we're going to talk about in this live episode, about how to build experience when you don't have a job and nobody wants to hire you. How you do that? How would you do that? And I'll kind of show you what I did early on in my career, or lack of career, that allowed me to be able to eventually get another internship that led to a job, that led to another job, and then eventually I built a pretty good resume and pretty good experience. Now, for those of you who are here, hey, say hello. NCH is here. Hello, NCH. Great to see you. So, love talking to all of you guys. By the way, if you're jumping in and you have any questions, 100% let me know. I'd love to answer them for you. So the most important thing when you're going for a job, so just to kind of, let me log into LinkedIn here. Let me switch my different user, log out, because I decided I'm gonna make a separate LinkedIn account, because I want to show you how to start a LinkedIn account and how to build experience when you don't have one, and how to start presenting yourself, where even though you're making personal projects, by the way, if you're making personal projects and you're putting for your resume, do not call them your personal projects. I'll tell you why. Because nobody takes personal projects seriously. It's like I play drums as a hobby at home. Like, nobody's gonna care. So if you're building stuff, don't ever use personal projects. That's a no-no, and that's a big turn-off. I've done it. You're probably doing it when talking about your projects, but we're gonna talk about it. But first of all, I want to tell you, like, this show is gonna be all about how we gain experience when we can't even get a job, when you're learning to code. That's one of the hardest things to do. I'm gonna show you what I did. I also set up a new LinkedIn account because I want to be able to kind of show you how to put a LinkedIn account together, how to start, what can you do to start getting some experience going. But first of all, let me show you my normal account, and I'm gonna go to my messages. Listen, guys, I'm gonna let's see. So here we go. Let me share my screen for a second here. And this is just like whatever. This is my LinkedIn account, my actual LinkedIn account. And it's took a lot of work to develop, a lot of work to get the experience. If I go to my profile, well, I want to view my profile. You see my profile, I have my resume here. I have my experience, where I currently work, where I did work. This junior JavaScript developer at Fluid Logic that I worked from a year to 6 years, a year to 6 months. We're going to talk about that because this is very important. But one thing, and I have my, React, JavaScript, what people are, endorsing me in. And then I have some recommendations that it's really nice if you could get some on your LinkedIn profile. But with that being said, let me just scroll through my messages here. So we have Sean Lewis. He's a recruiter. Another recruiter. So a bunch of these people are recruiters. And what I'm saying is that they're actively now starting to search me out because they're looking at my resume, they're looking at my experience, and they are kind of getting back to me. And here's one which is kind of interesting. Technical recruiter at Amazon. Is this a big deal? Probably is a big deal. And so she contacted me. We are open to consider blah, 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 blah. You for a position, and I responded to her email, and I'm going to go and do the technical interview. Will I get it? Will I not get it? That's not the point. The point is, once you get to a certain level of experience, you're going to have recruiters that are going to be reaching out to you, and it will make your job searching easier. But if nobody knows who you are, if nobody knows that you exist, it's going to be very, very difficult. So what do you do when you're starting out? When you are building stuff? And let me just say hello to all of you beautiful people in the chat. This is great, bro. Yeah, I hope it's gonna be great, because every time I do these lives, I'm like, I don't know what I'm talking about, and then half the time it ends up being phenomenal. What's up, man? These past weeks taught me something. The more you build personal projects, the easier you get negotiate your next job salary. 100%. And when I say personal projects, we got to start thinking of them as projects we build for potential clients. Because let me tell you this, if you build a personal project, what's to stop you? What to stop you? Let me just say this. It's going to blow your mind. Let me go to theme first. What to stop you? The personal project that you build, if you did a great job, why not put it up on ThemeForce and actually sell it? Sell the layout that you made. And look at this. You have built a personal project. This is one example to build experience. I'm not saying you got to do this one. They'll do something different. But what I'm saying is, like, whenever you build something, deploy it to like ThemeForce, deploy it to another place. And even though you get no customers, what you're doing there, you're actually building things that you are deploying and producing where someone could potentially buy it. Regardless if you get people buying it or not, you're actually no longer building personal projects, but you're building things that you're getting experience for. And by the way, when I say building personal projects, you should count that for experience. It's just some people won't take you seriously. I'll show you how to make people take your personal projects seriously, and that's what this is going to be about in this live chat. And I hope you guys stick around, because I think you guys are going to benefit a lot from this, because I want to show you how I started my experience journey before I got hired. Let me go back to my LinkedIn here. So let me go to my profile here, and I started a new profile. This is not it, but I'll show you the new profile to kind of show you this example. Norris here. My first job, I was a junior JavaScript developer at Fluid Logic from December 2017 to May of 2019. So 1 year and a half of experience. And, I was responsible for front-end design utilizing React, JavaScript, HTML, CSS. If you were to click this will take you to the Fluid Logic design page. And this was and there used to be a website. I believe it no longer exists. This is from a long time ago. But this is a company that was a freelancing company, which my friend and I created for exactly that same reason, to build experience for our job. And if you look at my resume, well, no, it's not my resume. This is not my resume either. Here's my resume. I have that as my initial, here, as one of my initial positions. Oh, I'm moving stuff around, breaking my resume. Initial positions, and I wrote it as not like I build a personal project. Nothing wrong with that saying that, but you got to make stuff, because believe me, the code you write yourself at home is the same code you'll be writing at the job. So treat it exactly as what it is, production ready code that you could, talk about. And that's what we did. We said, junior web development, Fluid Logic design, converted static. This is what I did. Converted static website into single page application using React, created class-based UI components, because this was so long ago, before functional components, to manage state, use lifecycle methods. So notice how I'm talking about this as a real job. And you look at my portfolio here, my LinkedIn, it's a real job, right? Even though it was being self-employed. And did we get a lot of clients? We didn't get that many clients, but it's still all the experience that counts. And so this is what I want to kind of talk about today, is that you got to sell yourself. You got to market yourself. Sure, you could get lucky, but the reason why I got to where I am is a combination of all the things I did. Now, maybe I got lucky. Maybe I was able to take, advantage of my luck, or maybe it's combination of luck, hard work, and everything else. But the point is, what I'm saying, if nobody knows who you are and you're just building stuff at home and you're not treating it as code you would write for your job, and you're not promoting it as such, because believe it or not, you're not tricking anybody. The code you write at home, tell me how would it be different from the code you write at work? Like, how would it be different? Let me go here. I have this application deployed, and this is like, by the way, if you're on the Tuesday night stream, this is what we're working on. This is Community One project, I think. Community One project. I don't even know how to spell it. Here it is. So here's my application building. Yeah, it's not done yet. Don't start being like, man, that's all you got. I'm logged in. Let me log out first. So I'm logged out. This is basically going to be a website where you're able to share your portfolios. You could upvote your portfolios. You could send messages. All that stuff I have to build. There's going to be a lot more functionality. You'll be able to manage your project. But this is, I could say this is a personal project, right? Or I could say this is a project I'm building for my freelancing company that I started, and I'm going to deploy this application. I'm going to put users on it. By the way, if you want to kind of see what I got so far, you're able to log in. And once you, damn it, error. You know why? Because coding after 30 is not a user, because this is live. I have test user. And by the way, you could try it out by going here and typing test user, test user. Now I'm logged in. I could see details. It will show me, I have to add some stuff. But let's say I go, I think this one has more information. Yeah, so here you could log in. I could check out my LinkedIn, whatever. This is basically work in progress. But the point, don't worry about the application. I also have a dashboard section where we could add a new portfolio. Still work in progress. But the point is, I'm treating this as an actual work project that I'm going to write about in my resume if, let's say, you have no job experience. And I'll show you how you could set this up. And we're going to do that in my new account that I set up for LinkedIn, just to kind of show you here something here in 1 second. But anyway, let me say hello. So hello, hologram nunchucks. How you doing? Hope you're doing good. So if I'm all over the place, it's because I'm excited to share this with you, the strategy that I used. And I'm also gonna start on this coffee, code, and chat. Let me take a sip of my coffee. So I'm hooked up on caffeine, ready to go. Because I want you guys to know that no one's going to give you anything. You got to create situations where you sell yourself. And there's many ways of doing it. But the problem with that is that it's a lot of work. There's somebody, I'm not going to put them, show them here on LinkedIn, but somebody I saw, which I had a great portfolio, just graduated a boot camp, and she wrote, can't somebody hook me up with somebody because I'm having a hard time finding a job. And the point is, you have to put yourself out there, and if you can't find a job, you have to create your own experience, but experience that people will take you seriously. So let me log out, sign out, and let me log into this newly created account for Coding After 30. And let's see here, Coding After 30, brand new account. Coding After 30, potentially, let's say, just graduated out of bootcamp, maybe just completed a they're self-taught and everything else. So this is a brand new LinkedIn account. Let's see, Coding After 30. What does Coding After 30 do? Well, he already has a job, software engineer. And I'm not even sharing my screen. I'm such an idiot. And everybody left because I'm not sharing my screen. But here's a newly created LinkedIn account for Coding After 30. Fictional character, not a real person. I'm not a real person. I am a figment of your imagination. So newly created, what Paul works, or Coding After 30, I should say, works as a software engineer at Get That Client. What? And let's scroll down here. Let's go to his profile. Let's check it out. So looking here, activities experience, software engineer at Get That Client. It's a company that's listed on LinkedIn. And you click on it and you go to their page. Get That Client. We know you're busy, so let us take care of your website needs. It already has 2 followers, which is weird because I just set this up for this video as an example. And guess what? We have a website that showcases. The website's not finished yet because I just deployed it. I'm waiting for the approval for the whatever the HTTPS protocol is. So I have to open it in HTTP because HTTPS is going to take 24 hours to set up. But what I'm saying, like, I did this all before this live stream. Look, it's an actual website. Get that client, web solutions for your business. About, you know, I didn't fill this information because I wanted to talk to you guys about this, but we have the about section, we have services section, like what we do. We build static websites, we do WordPress websites, and we do custom web apps with React and, you know, JavaScript, whatever you want. Why choose us? Basic information here, right? We have the pricing. I gotta change this, and I am going to change this. I'm going to kind of keep you up to date. But the point is, now I'm no longer building personal projects. Now I am building projects for Get That Client, which is an actual company listed on LinkedIn. To be an actual company, you could be doing business as, and you basically use yourself, like your name, and that's how you create that. And so when people come into your LinkedIn, which biggest mistake I see is people will come here, they'll go to your profile, and it'll say, it will say something like aspiring web developer. Great on paper, very bad on LinkedIn. Nobody cares for aspiring web developers, unfortunately, right? And then they'll scroll down and they're like, oh, he works, and or they'll go check out your work experience. If you have work experience, they're gonna take you more seriously. Doesn't matter if this work experience is your own freelancing company that you started, right? And so now any personal project I do, guess what? Guess what? Any personal project I do is going to be listed under this Get the Client website, this company that I just built today. And now when and again, let me fix that here. And the company that I literally started today. And so all my projects are no longer personal projects, but they are projects for my freelancing company. And if you get clients, that's awesome. You could build stuff for them. And if you don't get clients, you're still able to take in the time. So let's say I'm working on my project, which is my Dev Hunt project, and I could now say build Dev Hunt project for Get That Client. And then on my resume, I would say, you know, put Get That Client, you know, junior web developer, or whatever title you want to give yourself. I'd Get That Client, worked from whatever today's date on, and so on. And then what I did in my project, which, like, for instance, here, not here, not here, here, you know, I have authentication, right? Oh, great. I also created and use GraphQL for my backend. And so on my resume, I would write junior developer at Get That Client, created backend utilizing GraphQL, used Apollo client to query the backend data, you know, set up, you know, Postgres database and connected it to my API, you know, added type check with React type. And so you guys see now the fictional, like, the point is the projects that I'm doing at home now are starting to basically count towards my experience. And this is not cheating. This is not cheating. Why is it not cheating? Like why is it not cheating? Like, people say, like, how am I lying? I would create a website for anybody that wants to pay me money, right? I'm a freelancer. The projects I build now go under my freelancing experience, and everything that I do, I'm going to count that on my resume and my LinkedIn, and I'm going to show you how to optimize the LinkedIn eventually. But for now, I'm just using Coding After 30. And, you know, I have my software engineer at Get That Client, like I showed you before, Get That Client, actual company that's listed on LinkedIn that I started. And this is now going to be the umbrella for building my experience. I am no longer doing personal projects at home. I'm treating this as a business. I'm treating my website Get That Client as a business, that if I do get clients, I'm going to do work for them. And if I don't get clients, whatever template I made, whatever project I made, I'm going to put it under this umbrella. And now people are going to take you more seriously. The difference, what code I write at work that I get paid for, the code that I do here for my personal, I'm not even sharing stuff. Let me go back here, Jesus Christ. The code that I write, you know, at home for my you could call this personal project. I would never call this a personal project. This is my actual project that I want to get clients on, right? I'm building that project. The difference between what I write at home and this application is that at work I'm getting paid, and on this personal project I'm not, right? That's the only difference. So don't call it your personal project. Call it, create a thing on LinkedIn like I showed you, freelancing company, regardless if you get clients or not, and use that as an umbrella to start building your experience. Set up a simple website. Doesn't have to be much. Again, I have to fill the rest of this out, which I will, to show you that it has online presence, and then start using that in your resume. This is my real resume, but Junior Fluid Web Development Design is exactly that example. Let me log into my real account here just so you guys could see. I know I'm kind of talking all over the place here, but that's exactly the strategy that I used. Sign out. The strategy that I used, let me log in. This is Paul Braslavsky, my actual account. I used to build my initial experience to get my job, and I'll prove it to you. Where's my thing here? If you look at my job experience section, here it is, Junior JavaScript Developer at Fluid Logic. This was a company my friend and I set up, and you don't have to do a whole LLC. You don't have to go too crazy. You could literally do business as. You could set up an LLC if you want to take that extra step, but you could say do business as. And the projects that I built for this, I counted on my resume, and as you could see, here it is. Junior web developer at Fluid Logic Designs. We got like one customer, whatever. It all counts for your experience. So stop creating personal projects, calling them personal projects, and start taking credit for the development work that you do. If you have any questions about this, I know I'm just kind of all over the place today because I'm excited to share this with you, but that's the one way. If you have no job, you can't get hired, you try to get hired, you're selling your resume, and people are not they're not biting. Nobody's coming back to you. So I talked to a recruiter. This is what she said to me. The first thing she does is she looks at this section. Let me go back to my profile. They go to your profile and they look at the section and they see if you already have a job, because they know if you already have a job, you're the easiest person to place to another job. So if they come in, recruiters will see this, they'll scroll down and they're going to see here, and they should see that, oh, he has a job. He works as a software engineer at Red Hat Research. So setting up your own freelancing website that you're going to do for yourself is going to give you that clout. And you also have this ability now to kind of put all your project under that umbrella of being self-employed. And that could be your company that you started doing business as. Even if you have no real clients, as long as you're writing code, you're able to put this in your resume. And guess what? What's the difference between the code I write at home versus the code? And I realized I wasn't sharing my screen, but I'll share it to you guys in a second. Again, you guys yell at me when I don't share my screen at all. But the point is, the difference between the code you write at home and the difference you write the code at work is no difference outside the fact that you're getting paid at the code you're writing at home. So if you're writing code at home, you gotta write it in a way where you take credit for it. And the way you take credit for it is you take credit by setting up a freelancing website. It took me a day to do the site that I showed you. And then you put that on your LinkedIn as your initial experience. So let me go back to my regular LinkedIn first, because I know I wasn't sharing my screen to kind of show you again. I know I'm repeating myself, but I'm repeating myself because all this is super important. So let me share my resume first. And as you could see on my resume, I had a junior web development experience for Fluid Logic company. You go to my LinkedIn, you go to my profile, and by the way, don't spam me on LinkedIn or my phone. I don't share all my real stuff with you guys because I'm a real person. I have nothing to hide. I want to talk about my experience, how I got hired, how I got the job. So if you go here through my experiences, you see that I was a junior JavaScript developer for Fluid Logic. You click there. It's a company listed on LinkedIn. And here's the thing. When recruiters come in, the first place they look at two places. They look at two places. And kind of like I said before, let me go back to my profile here. Now, the first place they look is here. Okay, Paul Braslavsky, software developer. This is what he does. Okay, great. And then they want to see this. Where does he work? He's working at Jonah Direct Jonah Red Hawk Research, actual company, and then I have my experience listed here, right? And so now I'm going to go to my new, and then another place they go to, by the way, I'm just going to mention it because this is super important, is your skills that you're endorsed for. Make sure that your top 3 skills that you're endorsed at are focusing on the tech that you're using. I'm using React, JavaScript. I got to change this to Node and other stuff that I'm doing now, but no big deal at the moment, right? And those are the places they go. So let's go to our newly created Coding After 30. And just again, I know I'm beating the dead horse with a dead horse, holding a dead horse, but I want you guys to kind of get this point that you need to promote yourself and you need to kind of go after it. And this is one of the ways to do it. And people could argue this with me. That's fine. And I'll tell you why I did it this way when I first started in just a moment. But look, if you go to me, this is a brand new account, and you look here. When recruiters come here, they're just going to look here. If they say aspiring developer with no actual company or no actual job description, they're going to move on, and they're not even going to give you a chance, especially if you don't have a resume, which we'll talk about later. But now, like, they come in, oh, he's a software engineer. I get that client, and you know they scroll down. Let me go to my whatchamacallit, open page. They'll scroll down and they're going to see, oh, software engineer, get that client. If they want to click it, get the information. Oh, it's a page listed on LinkedIn. Maybe they even go as far as saying, let's visit the website. And again, I'm just put this website up. So currently HTTPS is not hooked up. We have to go on HTTP, but this is an actual website that I have to fill out the rest of the information. It's my company, get that client. This is where we solve your web solutions for your business, right? And so now when you come in, even though I don't have a job at a company, I'm self-employed as a web developer working on projects. And now every portfolio you do, any personal project, don't call it personal project, it's a project that is under this umbrella of, my cat wants to say hello. Hello, kitty. Hello. It's under this umbrella of get that client, your company that you guys. So now when recruiters come in here, they're going to see it, and now they're going to take you more seriously, even though you don't work for an actual company. And now you are able to start building experience, and you could write your resume, kind of I showed you before, from this fluid logic. Kitty, I'm sorry, everybody likes you, but I just need to concentrate. From the standpoint, now you could put this in your resume, you know, junior web developer at get that client. And now, okay, you want to say hi to everybody? Hi. Hello, everybody. Okay. Oh, you're so cute. Okay, now you may go. You may go. Sorry about that, guys. And now you start building experience. Anyway, so I know I'm kind of like jumping all over the place, but let me also jump into the comments, say hello to everybody. But I hope you kind of see what I'm getting at. And I'm going to talk about other strategies as well. But this is the, like, I have a to-do list. I got to put this in writing. I haven't done it yet. Right now, I have 4 things you should do. This is going to be the 5th one. Your checklist to getting hired and building experience without having experience. When I got interviewed for my job for Versus Suite, which was a medical company, they asked if I had any React experience, and I pointed at the experience I had with Fluid Logic. They didn't ask me what company was. They just asked, what did you do for it? I said, we used React on the front end, blah, blah, blah. We used, you know, class-based components, all this other stuff. You also use styled components and all this other stuff. So I talked about the tech that I used for the projects that I built, and that's as far as it went. But that was my experience that I created myself. I didn't wait for someone to give me the job, right? If you're gonna wait, let's say like there's a cute girl you like, and I don't know why I'm using these examples, they're really dumb, but there's a cute girl you like and you never tell her you like her. How's she supposed to know to ask you, hey, do you like me? She won't ask you. She won't even know who you are. You gotta put yourself out there. And I'm really good at bad examples, by the way. Put yourself out there and to create your own path. And so the game that I played with myself, I talked about it before on some of my YouTube channels, and I got to talk about it more now. The game that I played is this. I'm going to create, and by the way, I talk about you shouldn't go freelancing because it's hard. I'm not saying that you shouldn't build experience trying to do freelancing. but you're probably not going to make any money. But what you will be able to do from your experience freelancing and putting that stuff on your resume, you're going to build enough clout that people on LinkedIn and recruiters are going to take you seriously, because they're not going to see you don't have a job. They're just going to see, oh, he worked for Get That Client or Fluid Logic, and then they're going to start reaching out to you. I hope that makes sense to you guys. But the point, what I'm trying to say here, is that no one is going to give you opportunity. So this is the game that I played with myself, is this. I'm going to create a simple website, which was Fluid Logic at the time. And if we could get freelance clients, then we get freelance clients. And I'm going to see if I could make more money freelancing. But the main goal of it is not for freelance clients, but it was the main goal for me to have something I could put on my resume, and I could put my experience for 1.5 years that I worked on my personal projects. Don't call them personal projects. They're your projects that you're doing for your business. That gave me enough enough social proof on LinkedIn to start having recruiters reaching out to me. And when going to the interviews, I didn't look like some dude who had aspiring web developer. I looked like some dude who had 1.5 years of experience coding. The caveat being here, here's the most important part, guys. Don't make me strangle you guys. If you're gonna do this, you have to code every day, and you have to make projects that you could potentially sell to a client, even though you might not. You know what I'm saying? You got to write the real code. You got to make stuff that works, and you could create a portfolio where you share the projects that you build, kind of like I'm doing with my Dev Hunt portfolio. And here's an interesting thing. Let me jump back, look at the... So, Shopper, I'm going to answer your question in a second. Lucky, what's up? Are you hiring for Get That Client? So here's the thing, guys. I was gonna think about it. That idea came up to me. I was like, hey, why don't I create a thing where I'll say, okay, we need a mock-up for a e-commerce store, and then be like, we need to create this in React, and then we need to create a backend, and now you guys could come in and you could create a front and you create a backend, and then you could use it for your experience. I was gonna do that, but to be honest with you guys, I decided that it would take way too much time away from everything else I'm doing. But you could set something up yourself like that. But a little bit, not completely off am I hiring at Get That Client. But for Dev Hunt, let me kind of come back here. For my Dev Hunt project, what I want to do is I want to do monthly challenges once this actually takes more shape and looks good. And so what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to be like, okay, for this month, we're building a HTML, CSS, JavaScript portfolio site. And so I'm going to have you guys spend a month, build that project. If you want to do it, you'll be able to post it here, so people will be able to see it. They'll be able to click on the details. Let me log in here. They'll be able to log in here. They'll be able to like click on the details. Actually, I'm gonna have to make it so people could see your website without logging in, because how you gonna promote yourself? And they're gonna see, okay, here's the GitHub to... Actually, this is not the one I wanted to show you. Is it this one? Maybe I didn't add it. I didn't add it. Let me quickly underrun do this right now. Let me jump into my Heroku app. Heroku app login. I guess I want to go to my community backend, open app. Let me log in as admin. I just want to show you kind of what it's going to look like before getting to, is it coding after 30? Coding. I'm so bad remembering my passwords and everything else like that. But this is the backend for our website. So let me just pick up project portfolio here. Basic HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Let me go to my Netlify. I don't know why I'm doing this on stream. Makes no sense. But this is a project I built. I just kind of want to show you. I'm not going to do too much of it. Just want to show you how it's going to function a little bit. So you build your challenge that I talked about, and you'll be able to, take a link of where this site lives, right? So it's hosted live. Let me go back here. So where's it? Site URL. Let me add it here and save. And let me might as well put the GitHub link here. Damn, I zoomed in too much. GitHub. I forgot what this one was called. I have so many projects in my community. Show more. Full stack backend. Coffee and chat. Next, just regular full stack. Regardless, like for now, I'm just gonna put like a random GitHub link just so you kind of see how my app that I'm building works. But too many browsers open. Get URL. Save. So here's the thing that I was kind of gonna do. Let me go back to my application. So for back to your site. My God, why is Netlify giving me issues? So now I did it on this one, right? So you'll be able to go here. Let me zoom out and see. It's going to have basically your basic information. It's going to have your live demo at GitHub. And so when you guys build like the monthly challenge, you'll be able to post it here on DevHunt website. And then when you go on your resume and your LinkedIn, I'll make a DevHunt LinkedIn thing. That makes actually sense. So we're not hiring. It's going to be more like a place where you build projects and you just could point this. Like, actually, that's a great idea. We discovered something. I'm going to make page for DevHunt. You'll be able to link to it as your place. We're going to call it internship or whatever. No one's going to be getting paid. I don't want to deal with that, but you'll be able to build the monthly challenges, and then you'll be able to show those challenges in your portfolio. And at the same time, you'll be able to go on your LinkedIn. Where's my LinkedIn? LinkedIn. And you're going to have to call it internship because I'm not going to pay anybody, but you can say internship at DevHunt. And then you'll be able to, on your resume, write, as an example, intern at DevHunt, build a e-commerce theme, and then you could tell what you did. And now you could at least use that in your experience. But it's the same idea. So why not, since I'm building DevHunt anyway, why not help you guys use it to build experience? But if you want to go that extra level, go the route that I started talking about earlier on the stream, where you create your own experience your kind of freelancing site, like I created Get That Client. So when you go to my portfolio, my profile, you see software engineer Get That Client, and Get That Client will be listed on LinkedIn, and there'll be an actual website that basically, it's got to be HTTP. I just set this up. I know I keep saying this all the time. I just set this up, so HTTPS is not hooked up. It works with HTTP right now. And you have a website where now it kind of shows you're building real experience towards something. So let me come back, chat with you guys. I know it's all over the place. I probably messed up a lot of the stuff I wanted to say because I was so excited in the sense that this is something I did, something that helped me build my experience. I'll talk about other options you have. And I really like the DevHunt idea that you guys helped me to come up with. It's like, why not, use that to build experience that we could list on LinkedIn, and we can put it in our resume. Great idea, guys. I really love you guys. Let me come back here. So let me answer Shopper's question. I hope he's still here. Shopper asks, I'm not learning much at my first junior dev job with very minimal help from seniors. What would you recommend to enhance my experience? To be honest with you, that will be a thing. At my job, when I worked at Versus Suite, there's one guy that eventually started helping me, but not even that much. And that's only because he felt bad for me, I guess. But there's going to be senior developers who just don't care. And they don't even want to waste their brain time trying to help you. And that's sad, that's messed up, because they're not helping the future of the company grow. They're not helping the junior developers get up to speed. So if you're in that situation, just do the best you can. And you could try to reach out, be like, hey, I was wondering if you could help me, or try to find maybe not senior, like a mid-level experienced developer to help you out. But if nobody's helping you, what I would say, just put in your time, put in your year or a year to 6 months, like I did, and just use that as your experience on your resume. And instead of counting on the senior developers to help you, do your own studying. I used to study at work. 1 hour a day at work, out of my 8-hour workday, I would spend 1 hour studying things that are related to the job that obviously I'm doing, but doing some self-study, and that's what helped me on my experience. So that would be my recommendation. Lucky, yo, what's up? And then we already talked about, are you hiring at GitHub? That client, you know what? I'm not hiring at that client, like I mentioned, but I am going to open DevHunt as a place you guys could create monthly projects and you could use it as your experience. I'll create a page on LinkedIn that is going to, you'll be able to link it because it's going to be like a company, and whatever, and you could say I did this project for not Get That Client, for DevHunt, and that could be in your resume and you could talk about it, and I think it'll be great for you guys if you guys are interested and stuff like that. Let's see here. I miss some of your lives. It feels like I commit a crime. No, you're cool, man. You're good. You're doing good. We're just glad to have you now. I started a course from Coding Addict. When should I start learning about Strapi and Postgres? So what I would say, if you're ready, by the way, Coding Addict has, or John Smilga, he has a lot of great courses on Udemy, and I stand by his courses 1000%. There's a reason why, if you saw my video with John, why I reached out, is because I wanted to reach out to him, and it took a while before he got back to me because he's busy and like whatever, and I'm so honored that he did. But genuinely, out of all the courses I took, his courses were the ones that prepped me the most to feel competent in what I was doing. His React and his styled component classes that I took from him, like when I finished him, I got my interview and all that stuff was fresh in my mind, and I was able to do very well on the interview based of the experience again from his courses. So I recommend his courses like 100%. And obviously there's other courses that I like, but these are the ones that I stand by. And if someone say, if you were to take 4 courses, if you were going to take 4 courses, what would you take? I would take John Smilga's HTML, CSS, his JavaScript, his React, and that's where I would start first. That's 3 classes technically, but you guys are going to get really good practice and stuff like that. And I'm like kind of looking at the comments, and I'm seeing like, good luck, bro. I don't know what that referring to. Am I missing context? Like, good luck, bro, like meaning like thanks. But I guess like my question would be, I would like to get more context what that's referring to, so we could like have a chat about it. But thanks for commenting. I'm actually like really bad at reading chat, so let me like scroll up here. Maybe I missed something. Maybe someone did something and you could. But anyway, the point is that you need to not only know how to code, but you also have to know how to sell yourself. Another way to build your experience, and again, a lot of people post on Medium. That's great if you could do that. Anybody could do it, by the way, and then taking those Medium articles and sharing them on your LinkedIn. What I would say would be better is to have your own website. And I'm like a hypocrite in a sense that I don't have so much time, and because I already have a job, this strategy is not as important to me right now because I'm already employed. But I have Coding After 30 blogging website, and what you do is you create these type of articles: how to build a simple form with React.js, basically an article which demonstrates you know what the hell you're doing. So if I go to this article here, you guys are gonna see that I wrote about how to create a form using React components, and basically show you how to do it using styled components, and then talk about all the steps that I took. And then you have a working code example which allows you to basically test the example. And basically when you write an article like this, what you do is you copy your link, you go to your LinkedIn profile. Let me switch, like I'll use this newly created LinkedIn profile. Let me go back here. So Coding After 30, and you write right here, hey, check out this great article on how to build a form with styled components in React. And by the way, some of you guys joining in, this is a fresh LinkedIn account that I want to start using to show you how to optimize your LinkedIn. And in a second, I'll show you my real one. And notice I can't spell, so I just use tons of autocorrect. And then I'm going to put the link here and click post. Interestingly, the image doesn't show up. if you run into the problem where you're like, oh, the image doesn't show up, like you could also just add your own image here, but I'm just gonna post it like this, whatever. Okay, so it does show up here. So now look at this. LinkedIn, I am building experience, not only trying to network with people and get recruiters, I'm trying to add value to my community by sharing articles that I wrote that showcase, okay, how do you build a simple form with React and JavaScript? What does this show, guys? What does this show? This shows that I code, because I wrote it here and I posted it on LinkedIn. Recruiters, when they jump onto your LinkedIn, number one, they're gonna see I already have a job. If you just started out, this is a company that I created to do freelancing. So it's like nobody hired me, so let me create a freelancing company called Get That Client. They're listed on LinkedIn because I listed it there, and all my projects that I built, they're built on this umbrella. So on my resume, I could say I worked at Get That Client full-time. Here's the projects I built. So I'm building that experience. And on top of that, I have a blog of things that I share to my, feed, showing that I code, and I'm putting out there useful things that I built so other people can read. So recruiters come in, when they look at it, they don't see cat videos, they don't see, whatever, the funniest meme on coding, but they see that you're involved in a community, you are employed, even though it's self-employed, and you're putting out content that's code related. So don't you think a recruiter is going to take you more seriously when you're doing those things? What do you guys think? And how do you think I got my first job? So if you're having a hard time getting hired, I'm not saying this is the only strategy, but you want to make sure that you try to set things up in a way where you increase your chances in every possible way to get hired. I hope this is making sense to you. And I know that for most of us, maybe you won't need to do this step. I had to do it because I felt like I needed to build some initial experience. Maybe if you have an awesome portfolio, there's this girl, Katya, that I helped out coach. She did a lot, she did all the work, by the way, but she followed some of the steps that I laid out. She built an amazing portfolio. She set up a website, and I'll show you actually in a second the 3 things that all of you guys have to have. If you don't have them by the end of this video, I'm going to be like, what the hell are you guys doing? By the way, if you guys haven't smashed the like button, smash the like button. Not for me because I'm an idiot, but for you guys supporting this idiot who's talking on camera and engaging in the conversations. And let me look at the conversations. Okay, so you guys talk to each other. You're right. So here you go. You're right. I did a lot of self-study. It's like the whole company is reliant on one developer. There are times where I'm sitting idle and then I get thrown around. And that's very common when you're starting. And I guess team 918 was talking to Lucky. Thank you. I had been fooling around, and team, this is a really good point. I've been fooling around for a week or two, and when I heard from Coding Addict that we should show up every day, that was a good reminder. I was just grateful dust. I was wishing you guys good or best. Man, thank you, brother, so much. And by the way, let me tell you where I messed up. I never mind sharing with you guys my honest truth. I told you guys I started my journey early on learning to code. What was the issue? My issue was, how do I go to my own goddamn page? Paul Braslavsky, GitHub. Can I go to my own page? Yes, here we go. And let me share my screen here. I realize I'm not sharing my screen. Guys, feel free to yell at me when I'm not sharing. Here's the mistake I made. And this really comes to the first lesson that Team 9018 is referring to. He's referring to this idea of showing up every day. I started coding at around 35, 36. I didn't take it seriously, and you're about to see that. And it took me forever to get my job. I got hired at 39, just to give you a point of reference. I'm 41, so it took me almost 4 years to finally break into the field. And as you could see, some of the strategies that I showed you were the strategies that I needed to do to build my experience. But this idea of not showing up and being idle. I started this account in 2013. Look at this. Nothing. I did zero work. I did nothing. I did not do. I slacked. It was just like a thing. 2014. Still nothing. I'm not applying myself. Yeah, I'm trying to code. I'm like, okay, let me get to the point, right? Let me start coding. 2015, absolutely nothing, wasting time, playing video games, not showing up every day. 2016, still not showing up, still not doing the work that is required. 2017, what am I doing? That's 4 years wasted. Wasted 4 years. I could have already been making, over $150,000 instead of $80,000 that I'm making now. And so 2018, man, I started taking things more seriously. I started showing up more. I started putting in the work. And 2019, damn, I'm not stopping. I'm on fire. I'm going after it because this is what we need to do. And 2020, damn, still good. What's happening here? I'm working at my job. That's what's happening here. I'm trying not to get fired. 2021 is going to be a fantastic year. You know what I'm saying? And so showing up, doing the work is the most important part. And that's what not showing up looks like until you switch to show it up. So everybody show up, start showing up, switch it to that. Lucky I skipped the second part of your question. Did I? Probably. Let me take a look here. Let me take a look. Lucky, which resources to use for learning SQL? To be honest, John Smilga doesn't have a SQL course. What I would say, you could either go to YouTube, or I will show you the course I watched on Udemy. And when in doubt, I go to Udemy. And let me go to my learning and let me type SQL, Postgres. And by the way, you don't need to buy a full course on Udemy for SQL and Postgres. You could look up the documentation. Like for instance, I use it with Strapi, and that's something that I use. But there's a course, it's called SQL. God damn it, because I bought this course, it doesn't let me go to the page. Let me share my screen here. But this is the course I took. It's called SQL and PostgreSQL for Beginners. Become an SQL expert. So I usually just go on Udemy, find stuff. But the point is, you don't need to be a master, because you're not going to be a data admin. You're going for web development, so you just want to be familiar. So I would just look up on YouTube, like one video I did, how to set up, PostgreSQL with Strapi on my other YouTube channel, which has like 2 subscribers. Practical web development. The channel is so small, it probably won't show up. Yeah, see, it doesn't show up. But how do I find it? I could go to my YouTube channel, and I could scroll to the bottom. Here we go. And so here's, I'll put this in the link. If you want to play around with Postgres, try to go to this tutorial. And I know I probably shared it before, and set it up with Strapi, and then go from there. I'm not going to play the ad. I'm just going to copy the link and share it with you guys for those of you who are interested in that. But usually I just go look up documentation, start reading, and go through that stuff. And let's say, and here's a good question: should we post on LinkedIn every day? The answer is no, because you're going to be wasting a lot of time. So what I would say, come up with a consistent schedule. What I would say, post either once a week or once every 2 weeks, or even once a month. So let's say you learned something new, you wrote an article about it, post an article, once a month. If you could do it twice a month or once every 2 weeks, that would be the best kind of way of doing it. And this is something that I want to get back into. I started actually recording more tutorial videos, that I'm going to do a tutorial video, do a blog post associated with it, and then I'm going to share my LinkedIn to kind of show them in that constant coding. I'm constantly working on development type of stuff, and I'm trying to add value to the community. You got to be involved with the community. I hope that helps to answer your question, but not every day. Don't want to spam your LinkedIn, because at the end of the day, you're using LinkedIn as a tool to build experience, but you don't want to overdo it where you're not actually coding and doing the work that you need to do. Emmanuel Garcia, I'm having trouble using loops. I know what I wanted to do, but I don't know how to express it. What would you say helped you the most when understanding loops? Give me an example, Emmanuel Garcia, of what you want to do with loops. Go crazy, go stupid. Hello, hey, what's up? And wow, that is very inspiring. Keep up the good energy, bro. Don't get tired teaching us. Bro, I'm not gonna get tired of teaching you guys. I'm actually going to start offering, for those who are interested, you don't have to be interested in this, but I'm gonna start doing one-on-ones. I'm gonna figure out how and what works and where. But I took pretty much all the John's Smilga's courses, and I know that there's a lot of people that taking his courses have a lot of questions, so I'm gonna create some sort of coaching, either half hour, an hour, where I will focus on the basics of HTML, CSS, JavaScript, React, and especially for those of you guys who are taking these courses and might have questions, so I'll let you know. So I'll never stop teaching. Go crazy, go stupid. Hey man, sometimes that's what you gotta do. You gotta do what you gotta do. Listen, if it pays the bills for you, my man, then you do what you gotta do. You know what I'm saying? You know, I'm not gonna hate. Everybody's got the right to hustle. Free Code Camp has a good SQL course. It's like 4 hours, I think. Yeah, Free Code Camp has a lot of great tutorials, by the way. If you go to their YouTube, you could learn so much from them. I actually don't go through their curriculum on their website. I use it as a quick guide to be like, oh, do I know this? Do I not know this? So I don't work down their curriculum, but I do watch their YouTube channel and I watch some of the tutorials they have. They have a lot of great tutorials and great stuff. At the end of the day, if you want to get hired, you need to build stuff, and I kind of talk about that a lot in a lot of my other streams. But like you got to build a portfolio, and I'm going to get back to the point. But the point here is right now is building experience when you don't have a job, and kind of the examples that I talked before. Create your own website that you could reference on your LinkedIn, like I did, that you could write in your resume all your projects that you're building. There is no such a thing as personal projects. There's just projects that you build for that thing. I also talked about my idea with DevHunt, how I think we could create a community where you guys could build stuff. I'm going to make monthly challenges. I think that's awesome. I'm going to do monthly challenges. You guys build those things. You could share them on DevHunt when it's more workable, and you could hit and put DevHunt in your LinkedIn, and then you guys could put that in your resume. I built, a e-commerce template for DevHunt internship, blah 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 blah. And this is how you could build experience. This is how you could be involved in making stuff happen. Go crazy, go stupid. Sir, can you teach me how to make a website? Well, that will happen on our Tuesday night live stream. But yeah, more likely, the point is, if you're looking for people to teach you, you have to be like, listen, do I want people to solve all my problems for me, or do I want to become a problem solver myself? It's like kind of thing, give a man a fish or teach a man to fish type of thing. And so what I would challenge you is, can you find enough information online to get started on your own? And if you can, that means I will take you seriously in terms of your pursuit to really putting in the work and wanting to do this. And then when you come and ask me questions, instead of being, can you teach me how to make a website, you will ask more specific questions like, look, I tried to use for each, and this is the problem I ran into. Have you had this problem before, and how do you solve it? So that's what would be my tip for you. And yeah, thanks, man. Bro, that GitHub part was fire. Show up every day, make it a clip and post it. That is inspiring. Yeah, I got to do that. And if you guys ever want to clip my videos sometime, like, you're more than welcome to do that. And go crazy. Look, buddy. If you're going to swear and not provide anything useful, great. I know we're going to get trolls. I love trolls, but I don't want to spend half an hour going through my stand-up comedy routine on your behalf with your beautiful teeth. I can, but this is not helpful. So if you're not going to ask helpful questions, I'm just going to ban you. But I will set up a comedy channel separately to be able to do that. Okay, so you're apologizing. Sorry, you won't do it again. I appreciate your love. Listen, I just want to build a positive community, so I do appreciate it. Yeah, and so we'll check it out. So if you don't want to get banned, try to add some value to the conversation. Is it okay to schedule coaching session for React code review? Is it okay to schedule a coaching session for React code review? Yes, it's okay, and I'm more likely, like, I will definitely help you. So yeah, just reach out to me. If you guys start on our Discord, you could join our Discord. Okay, regardless if you're trolling or not, buddy, here's a good one. Also, sir, should I buy the M1 MacBook Air for coding? So here's the thing. I bought my MacBook M1, and this is actually a good question. And it depends what kind of development you're doing. So I do front-end development with JavaScript and Node. So if you're doing React, if you're using JavaScript, if you're using Node, it's not a problem. But when I bought it at my job, I also did C# development. And I'm assuming if you did C++ or Java, M1 MacBook Air would not be good for that because it just doesn't have a good enough environment to support that. Even for C#, I tried using Writer, and on my M1 MacBook, Writer, which is like a dev environment for C#, it wasn't really working well. You know, it was just not like, so I don't do any C# development on my Mac at the point, like on an M1 chip. It's just not working that well. Maybe in the future it'll be better, but that's the truth. Yeah, Lucky, I get you, my man. I get you. KG609, what's up? Yeah, if you're going to use JavaScript, buy an M1 MacBook. And anyway, so talking about building experience, here's the thing, guys. 80% of the internet is not going to do anything, and I get that, but you have to understand this community is for those of you who want to get stuff done. And when I tell you guys the things that I'm referring to, the things that I recommend you do, I'm not making this up for the sake of use. I don't want to make money from my YouTube channel. I want to make money from my development job. I want to make money from teaching people to code, and one day I want to make money from releasing courses. I don't want to be a YouTuber. The whole point of me is not to be a YouTuber. So the stuff and the advice I give you is the stuff that I used, the stuff that worked for me, and that's the stuff I know will work for you. But ultimately, you guys have to do the work. So before I move on, any question between anything else that I asked? And look, I give people chances, and sometimes I'm like, you know what? We just don't give any chances. So bye-bye, go crazy, go stupid. I entertain the idea, but now I want it to be a little bit less creepy online. You know, we have a lot of viewers. They don't want to deal with stupidity. But anyway, so we said bye-bye, and now we're moving on. So the point is that let's talk about the bare minimum 3 things you guys should have. And let me just look at here. Hey, bro, I'm from Uzbekistan. It's 5 a.m. here early morning, so I should take off now. Hope to see you guys. Hey, bro, thanks for jumping in on the live stream, by the way, and it is fantastic to have you here. I'm glad you're able to join us. I hope you could come back and do more. And thanks for your great comments today. And we'll see you guys, and we'll see you next time, Team 9018. Man, 5 a.m. is pretty early, and the fact that you're still up and, you know, say hello to everybody in Uzbekistan. I'm originally from Russia. Not saying that it's closer than America. So great to have you here, brother. So KG609 asks, do you prefer learning through a course or through building a small project while reading documentation and new languages, frameworks you're working with? So let me break this down to you. There's different levels. If you know nothing, if you don't know anything, you need to do a course. But you don't need to do 1,000 courses. Do 3 courses on Udemy, 5 courses on Udemy, the most. And after that, you're ready to build your own projects. So you take courses on Udemy to learn. You don't take them to build projects. So phase 1, take HTML, CSS course, take a JavaScript course. I'm just using that as an example because that's what I did. Take a React course. And then after those 3 courses, you now know basics of HTML, basics of JavaScript, basics of React. Now you're ready for phase 2, which is building small projects while reading the documentation and searching things on Google. So now, instead of going back to those tutorials and using them as reference, you start to use yourself as reference, and the things that you don't remember, because you know what you forgot. Now you could Google that in Google and use that to fill in your gaps. So phase 1, you're using tutorials to learn how to code, but you're building projects on your own through using documentation to get hired, to build that portfolio. So great question. And man, thank you, my man, for being on tonight, and spread the love. By the way, if you guys haven't smashed the like button, smash the like button. If you
have any questions, definitely ask. So we talked about self-promotions, like how you should go after it, get yourself done. I mentioned a lot of that stuff in the first part of the stream. The second thing I wanted to show you is that when you're starting out, this kind of applies to this idea how to get experience even though you don't have a job yet. And what do you mean by, would you take a WordPress ecom developer that pay over 80K with half a year of experience? Like, I don't know what the market for WordPress developers are. It's not unheard of. I know that the average salary is $60,000 to $65,000 for WordPress and PHP developers, but I do not know that for a fact. So you would have to look that up. And then Mike, great question. How long do you recommend you try to solve a problem before you open Google or Stack Overflow? So I used to fall into this trap because I would spend 8 hours beating my head against the keyboard thinking I could figure this out. And the truth is 8 hours of non-productive time is a waste of time. So this is what I would say. Try the problem, set up 45 minutes. In 45 minutes, if you couldn't figure it out on your own, and this is like stuff that you kind of know, then go and search stuff up and see the solutions you find, implement it, test it, and make sure you could understand the code. But I wouldn't go more than 45 minutes before reaching somewhere else for help. And if it's something brand new and you don't know it, like you're like, oh man, I totally don't know this. And you know when you're at that point, you're like, man, I don't understand what this is. Then you hit Google right away. And lucky, I know basics of React, but at which point should I start learning Postgres and Strapi? So what I would say, don't think of it as like learning Postgres and Strapi for kind of like, or let me rephrase that. It's if you could build a basic React application that serves like a basic view, and you have the idea of how to work with fetch to get data from the API, then I would say the next step would be exactly what you're referring to. And you don't have to use Strapi and Postgres. It's just something that I use because it's easy, in my opinion, to like everything is like, okay, it's easier than creating your own API basically. But this will allow you to set up Strapi with Postgres. And now you could take that front end knowledge that you have with React and you could connect it to that back end, kind of I showed you with the Dev Hunt application. Like for instance, the application that we're building on our stream. Did I close it? Yeah, like this application that I'm building on the stream, I'm technically really focusing on building out the front end with React, but I do want to have data. Like I want to be able to click the dashboard here. I want to go here, add a project, let's say test. I want to be able to choose a file. I'm just going to put some random image. Let's put this image, whatever. I want to create the project. And I want it to go back into the API, I want it to run, and I wanted to add that project to the database. As you could see, I just created this. And this is why you need Postgres and SQL, is that you're starting to practice CRUD operation, create, read, update, delete, where you're able to create a application with React where it's not just showing you content, but you're actually able to add content, interact with content. Like for instance, I'm able to like this, and it will save that. So I will show you this. The issue in my code is I'm using GraphQL. That's going to be different. So I'm going to show you, in my CodePen first, kind of to do it the traditional way with REST API with fetch. And then I'm going to show it in my code and the difference. So we're going to do that in just a moment. Hold on a second. I had a text. If it's my fiance, I can't sleep on that. Gotta say hello. And yeah, so by the way, like you're not bothering. This is why I do these live streams, to add value to you guys and kind of be able to show you guys. And I'm gonna show you this right now. So by the way, let me close a lot of these things because they're just the eyesore. And if you guys have questions, definitely ask. This is why I'm here. And we're going to talk about the stuff that I talked about before. get that client website. Okay, so let me go to, oh, I closed the thing that I needed. Ah, Jesus Christ, Heroku app. I need to bring this up. So here's my application, Community One project, open app, and it has two endpoints. Because I built it with Strapi, it has the ability to hit a REST API, which is different from the way you hit the Graph API. So for a REST API, we might have an endpoint called projects, right? And this is the data that you get. Because projects are not private, you're able to get all this data, because this is what's basically presenting the projects in our database. Let me just close it here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 items, and let me go to Community One project. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 items, and this is basically what we return from the API. So let's go to CodePen. I might have an example that I could reuse, so I don't have to do it completely from scratch here. Let me just look up some stuff. By the way, CodePen is a great place to kind of try things out and practice stuff. So I know I have one somewhere. I must have some basic get code from API.js. This is not using React. This is going to use JavaScript, but we want to use React, right? You want to do React? Let's do React. Let me find a React template here. I have so to set stuff up, I have a thing that I created, which is a basic React template that allows me to do stuff. I just don't know where it is. React template. Where's my React template? React started template. This is obviously not started template because it has some stuff in it, but I'm gonna erase all this stuff. Let me erase all this code. I don't mind erasing this. This is no big deal. We're just gonna kill it. We're gonna kill this. Yeah, and I don't mind like showing stuff and talking about code. I actually love talking about the code. So let me make this super small. Let me know if you guys could read the code. It makes sense. So we basically going to have a basic app here, right? This is where our, and I think I erased that component. So we're going to create an app component, which is going to be the entry point to our application, which is going to render out some HTML via JSX. Return, I'm going to return a div because we're going to put stuff in here. And just to test that it works, I'm going to put hello world. So we're getting our text back. So what we want to do, we want to fetch these items from the API. So this is going to be our link that we're going to save. And okay. Let's go back to our CodePen. Is it too big? Let me make it smaller so you guys could see, make the screen bigger. So we're going to create a function that's going to get our data. And we're going to do everything in our app component, actually. We're going to do everything here. So actually, you could also do it in your use effect. So if you're ever going to get data that changes a state or is a sync, you want to do it inside a use effect. So I'm going to call a use effect here. Then we're also going to have state. A use effect, by the way, takes in a function. So we're going to pass an arrow function here. And we will have a dependency, which is going to be for our posts. And so I'm going to create state here for posts. And we're going to call it set posts, right? And it's going to equal react.useState. And right now it's going to be empty array. And so we're going to go here, and we're going to say if we have something in state, meaning if posts dot length is greater than 0, we're gonna show our posts, right? Show posts. And if there is no post, we're just gonna return no data, right? So now, because we don't have any data, it says no data. If we were to put an item in here, we're just gonna hard code it. Since we have data in state, why is it complaining no data still? Length, post length. Let me save this and refresh. So if length is small, what am I doing? If length is greater than 0, guys, show posts. This should be greater than 0. What are you trying to kill me? Oh, hold on a second. Let me put another item here. I just want to test something. No data. So what you're gonna have issues like always. So just console log your posts, and let's see what it says. Clear. So post has data. Let me refresh to see that console log again. So we do have data. So length. Oh, I'm dyslexic, so I get letters confused. So now you see it says show post. Yeah, so I have dyslexia. Dyslexia. Oh, Jesus Christ. I don't know how you say it when you confuse letters and numbers together. So it's length. I misspelled it. But here we go. So if we have data in our state, then it's going to show the post. If we have no data, then it's not going to show the posts. And so the easiest way to do it is to use fetch. And so I'm going to just bring fetch mdn, and it's going to kind of show us some basic use cases for fetch. And basically, let's see, this is going to show an example. This is a bad article. Where's my example? So let's, if mdn doesn't work, you say how to use fetch. And so it's very simple, but I want to show you that when you're not sure how to find something, you look it up. So they give an example. They use basically callback. They use promises, and then they use .then. I'll show you an example with using async await. So basically what you do is you post the URL you want into here. So I'll go to my example in CodePen here, and I'm going to define a function inside here, and it's going to be async function, and it's going to be called get data. Yeah, and yeah, thank you. I should have looked at my comments. I'm an idiot. You guys are all geniuses. Geniuses, big brain, 1,000 moves, guys. Yeah, length, I misspell it like 10 times a day. I do have dyslexia. At least I'm going to use it as an excuse. Build. That's the best way to learn quick. You will struggle, but that's exactly what to learn quick, because you're 1,000% right. The fact that I'm making mistakes here, code on blocks, is the fact that I'm going to remember it for next time. So we're going to make a function get data, and we're going to pass our URL in here, right? And what we're going to do, we're going to do const response is going to equal to await fetch, and we're going to pass our URL into it. And you're like, Paul, how do you know how to do this? You're so smart. No, I look at the documentation. So our response we will fetch our response, and then we're going to return response.json to return it in the format that we could use. And then what I'm going to do here, I'm going to do const data equals response dot JSON. And what I'm going to do in my use effect, I'm going to, before that, we need to save the stuff to state. So we're going to say set posts, and we're going to put our data into here. It's probably not going to work because nothing I type works, but let's call our get data function. And what we want to do is this nifty endpoint I have, I'm just going to copy and paste it, and we're going to provide this URL. Let me put it as a const URL. See, I can't spell, guys. Please spell correctly, Paul. And then we're going to pass this into our fetch here, URL. And in theory, something doesn't work. So we're going to troubleshoot here. So I am getting get data. Let me console log here. Yes, thank you. See, I'm trying to go fast. I know what you guys talking about. Put a weight on data. You're 100% right. Now it should work. See, guys, this is why I have you guys. By the way, I love the fact that we could all help each other out. And the reason why I don't mind like sharing this stuff with you guys, and this should just be dot response, and sharing with you guys and having you watch me make mistakes is because, and we know we got data because now show post comes up, is because I want to show you that this is how it happens. Everybody makes dumbass mistakes. I don't want people to wait. We got that. We got that, web dev junkie. We got that. Listen, under pressure, I can't code. Okay, guys, give me a break. Oh, Jesus Christ, I'm sweating profusely. Yeah, so we're getting data here now, and I know we're getting data because we could now console log our posts, and you could see we got a post here, and this data is coming from our API. And so now what we're gonna do here, we're gonna use little fragments. Not yet. Hold on a second. This is where we're gonna insert data. Hold on a second. Let me make this a little bit better looking. And so what we're going to do here, we're going to map through our posts, post.map, and we're going to post, and we're going to return our post. And to test that this works, we're just going to return 1 for now, before I get too far ahead of myself. And so 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, and that's basically going through all the posts. So let's take a look at our API here. So basically that's how I do it. We're getting our data back. Let me kind of move this to the center of the screen. What are you doing? Close this. Yep. And so now let me go to my API here. Where is it? Did I close it? Did I close here? Let me open it. So we have an ID, we have name and description. So for the brevity of this example, I'm just going to pull this data here. So now what we could do, we could create a card component, which I won't. I'll just put everything here. And by the way, anytime you're mapping through stuff, so React could kind of keep track, you want to put a key here, and usually you would do it using the ID, post.id. And now we're going to have a h1 for, what was it, post.title or name, I don't remember. Title, I'll just try post.title. I know I'm forgetting. Oh my god, this is ridiculous. It's like watching, you know, oh my god, post title, where's my brackets? Oh Jesus Christ, post.title, come on. Anyway, I'm not looking at the comments because I don't want to see you guys laughing at me. It's not post.title. Are you serious? It's post.name. It's post.name and description, you idiot. I'm such an idiot. See, if an idiot like me could learn to code and get a job, what's your excuses, guys? What's your excuses? What your excuses? I don't know. I don't know what your excuses. Tell me in the comments what your excuses that you guys can't get a job. And it's post.description. Post.description. Look at that. Look at that. We got to put the p tag here. Why is it going over there? Boom, and we're getting data from an API. We got our name and we got our, our description. There you go. How do you get data from an API using React? Well, basically what you do is you put the logic inside a use effect. You could write a function, and you could use either .then, or in our case we used async await. You call that function. When that function returns the data, you set it to your state. You do a little check here. If there's items in your state, let's return those items. And if there's no items in that state, let's return no data. You could also set up some error handling and stuff like that, which we could cover in another situation. And 100% you could use the structuring callback arguments to avoid having to put posts. 100%. And what he's meaning, guys, is you could, in here, like for me to do that, by the way, I would have to do it like so. I would have to put a return here. And then now I'm able to do something like this, const. And then I could do name and description. And this is actually a good practice to get into, just because sometimes you might have something that's like post.data.doohickey.whatever and stuff like that. So now, boom, we just switch this here, and now we don't need to use post. We could just directly use name and description, and that works just as well. And let's see here. What do we got here? Yep, we talked about that. Code on blocks. What's up? Code on blocks. Let me do something here on YouTube. Code on blocks. Do you have a YouTube channel? Code on blocks. With a name like that, like, you definitely should have a YouTube channel. Do you have a YouTube channel? I don't know. Man, if you don't have a YouTube channel, you should have a new YouTube channel. Code on blocks, that's a great name. Great name. If you do have a YouTube channel, share it with us. That'll be cool. Yeah, and by the way, I could show an example how we're handling this in our application. Let me put up my application here in VS Code, and I'll show you the difference between the REST API, where we aimed to get our, if you have projects, you would use projects endpoint. If you have, let's say, likes, you would use like endpoint. But with GraphQL, you just have one endpoint, and that's where you request all the data. So let me open my project so I could show you how that's done in GraphQL, which is going to be totally different, but kind of similar in a sense. Coding. Oh my God. It's funny when you try to find stuff, it's always really hard. It's not API, it's front end. Find the front end. Open recent, community, project, client. So okay, let's go here. Let me share my screen. Thank you for this explanation. Hey, you're welcome, brother. Anytime. Yeah, I struggle through it because I can't spell and I forget. And complex, where do you live? May I need to learn blockchain? Yep, you could destructure argument that as well, 100%. And yeah, code blocks, someone will steal your name. I do, but haven't been uploading. I used to make gaming vids, but deleted them since I'm making about blockchain dev now. That's awesome. Whenever you get some content available, definitely share with us. I would love to share it with our community for sure. And thank you for jumping in and supporting us here. So let me open up my Dev Hunt application that I'm working on the Tuesday night live stream. Every Tuesday we're making progress. Why am I so zoomed in? Are you serious right now? You're gonna zoom in this far for me? How I zoom out? What the? Here we go. We zoomed out here. So let me show you how you pull data with GraphQL, which is a little bit different. But the idea, the map at least works the same. Notice here we check if data exists. If we have the data, we're basically using the same thing as we did. The only difference here, I created a card component, where we basically do the same thing that, where's my card component? Basically, we do the same thing that I did in the code pen. We get the data. Well, this is I'm getting the user, whatever, but we basically get the data that we received from our API call. But let me back up here to projects. And in GraphQL, instead of using something like fetch, I'm using Apollo client that has an amazing hook called useQuery, which allows you to provide a query, which is basically where you ask what you want to get, and in return you're going to get either an error, data, or loading. It has a couple other options you could pass here, and then we basically check if loading, show a spinner, if error, show an error, and if we have data, what we're doing, we're going to push that data into our project card and show that data. And so the cool thing about GraphQL that it uses one endpoint, and basically that query I just showed you is responsible generating this content here. And but the idea is the same. And so this is my application that I'm working Dev Hunt, and I think we had a great idea as a community to kind of create a place for you guys to share the things that you're building and allow you guys to share the things that you're building, share a live demo, share the GitHub to that demo, share your LinkedIn, share your GitHub, share your resume or your personal portfolio site. And yeah, bro, all the shortcuts. Unfortunately, that one, I know what the problem was. It's my issue with my streaming software. My streaming software is actually able to zoom in as well, and it uses the scroll wheel on my mouse, which is crazy. And Web Dev Junkie, thanks so much. I enjoyed watching your live streams, Paul. You got that positive energy. And listen, I'm too old not to have positive energy. I don't need to hate. I don't need to do stuff. I mean, I could hate, but why waste time? Like, the whole point is to create a positive environment where people could see my kind of journey through coding, to show you that I'm not the smartest person here, to show you that I make mistakes live all the time. I'm not afraid of embarrassment. I'm not afraid to putting myself out there. And it comes back to that. Yeah, and coding on blocks, like you jumped in, I don't know when you jumped in, but we did the first part of it exactly about LinkedIn. And I actually talked about how to build the experience on LinkedIn. And if you do want to get hired, 100% you want to do on LinkedIn. And by the way, this is to bring it back to this project. This is why I wanted to create this project. I'm going to set up a page for this on LinkedIn that you could post as your experience. So you'll be able to go and say, I did this project for this LinkedIn competition. I built like whatever, and you could share and write in your resume. But LinkedIn, 100%. So let's bring that conversation. I like that. Let's bring that conversation back to LinkedIn. So I created this new account just because I want to show you guys how to build out LinkedIn. And as you notice, this new account, let's say you just graduated bootcamp or you're self-taught and no one's hiring you. But you see here, I already have a job, right? It says how Paul has a job if nobody hired him yet. So what I did to build experience, I started my own freelancing company. If I get freelancing clients, great. If not, it's okay. But every project I build is going to be under this umbrella of, my own get that client company that is listed on LinkedIn. So if you have no experience, nothing wrong with setting up something where you're trying to get your own clients, and every project, you should not build any personal projects. Everything should be built for something. And by the way, I set up this page on LinkedIn, and I even have a website that I just set up today that is not even finished, but I just want to show you that anybody could do it. And you could set up a basic landing page for your website service that you're able to provide some sort of services. I built static website, WordPress sites, and custom web apps with React and JavaScript, whatever you guys are going to do. And so now I'm able to use this experience and put it in my resume, which I closed. Let me open my resume. So now, whenever you're trying to build out your resume, you might not have actual job experience yet, but you could say, and this is kind of similar to what I'm showing you here, but I could say I worked as a junior web development for Get That Client. I built static websites using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. I converted those static websites to SPA, single page application with React, created whatever stuff, and you could write it in your resume as if a job. Like I mentioned before, the whole And Code on Blocks, I will check out your thing here. Actually, let me find you. Let me log into my actual LinkedIn here. And we could take a look at yours. That's great. I love to share because this is great learning experience. So I made this one just to kind of show you how you could start building stuff. So let me show you my actual LinkedIn. By the way, I'm showing you my real name. I'm showing you my real stuff and whatever. So don't spam me, guys. But here's my profile on LinkedIn. That's weird how that's crunching it now like this, but whatever. And so it shows where I work, what I do, some of the cool parts that I have my about, what I do. I have my resume here. I have my experience where I worked. And I have kind of like for recruiters, by the way, when they come in on your website, they want to see if you have endorsements for the skills that you actually looking to get hired. The most important thing they like is that you already employed, that you already have a job. And that's kind of where I showed you start your own freelancing company to kind of, don't be nervous, Code on Blocks. Don't be nervous. You know, at least you'll have that experience to show for it. And then also, if you're working somewhere and you work at a company, all I did, oh, I think I'm too zoomed in. Control minus works. And when you work at a company, don't be shy. If you haven't done this and you already have a job, ask people to give you recommendations. Very easy. Like I write something nice at them, and then in my next email I say, hey Brandon, I really enjoyed working with you. You know, I'm looking for my new job and I really appreciate if you could say some good words or write a recommendation for me on my LinkedIn, and people would do it. So I have two, you could get more and stuff like that. So by the way, Code on Blocks, what's your LinkedIn name? Or if you want, you could, if you don't want to share it, well, I mean, it's going to be public anyway because we're on live, but what's your name? Put it in the chat and I'll go to your LinkedIn profile. And I like looking at everybody's LinkedIn profiles because it's important to make sure that people understand that, oh, thanks, man. Yeah, I wanted to make it obvious what I do. I got to switch it up. I no longer do C# and ASP.NET. I mostly focus now on Node.js and GraphQL. But yeah, let me know what is your name to find you on. Oh, you put the link in the chat. Does it let me link? Because sometimes my chat is weird. I have the link in the chat. I don't see it. Let me. Oh, wait. Add coding blocks. Nope. Where is it? Did it block the link? Let me give you my email. Actually, just look me up right now on LinkedIn. Just look up Paul Bratslavsky on LinkedIn and just send me a friend request. We be LinkedIn friends, represent, and we're going to go that way. So just Adrian. Okay, Adrian. Oh, thanks. I see your name here. Let me search you up now. LinkedIn is amazing. Amazing. Adrian Delgado. Okay, you're the blockchain developer dude. Are you this guy before I click? No, that is that you? You got the tie going on? Is that you? Are you this guy? Say something in the chat before I click. Yeah, man, I love that. Look at that. All about presentation, looking good. By the way, I look like this. When I went to my interview, you gotta bet I was wearing a tie, a shirt. Bro, like I give you bajillion points for the fact that you got a tie on. I appreciate it. I'm gonna follow. I'm gonna view full profile. That's a pretty good picture. Nice. Your picture's cool here. Adrian Delgado, full stack blockchain developer. I like that. Talks about what he does. Let me go more connect. Dude, I'm gonna connect. If you're gonna decline me live, bro, it's gonna hurt. Let's connect, my man. Anyway, I'm kidding. You don't have to connect if you don't want. But thank you for sharing your thing here. And then talk about providing services, see all the details about, okay, let me back up here. Like highlights. Yeah, I like that here, by the way, the featured section. That's actually pretty cool. That's a great idea. Like, I actually didn't do this well. And then you talk about all this stuff. Okay, that was the featured article that you posted. I should add something like this to kind of showcase what I'm doing. Then it shows your activity, about your experience. Bro, you're like way more experienced than I am. I'm embarrassed to even compare myself to your knowledge base. You're a legit developer. You got license and certifications, volunteer experience, skill and endorsements. Nice. And yeah, so here's the part that really like I love, like the way that you have very nice, clean presentation of picture. You get right to the point, show the stuff that you're doing. You're posting stuff in the community, and you got recommendation there. And by the way, you given recommendation, and that's very important to do. And when recruiters come, and I bet you get a lot of recruiters contacting you, man, then you're way smarter than I am. See, dude, oh, jeez, that hurts. What a burn. No, but here's what I'm going to say to you, Coding on Blocks, or Adrian. The reason why I say this to you, it's because that's the image your LinkedIn presents. Your LinkedIn looks amazing, and when I bet you get like you get people reaching out to you, and this is how I know. Number one, let's see here. You have a good representation of what you do. Okay, then they're probably gonna go here, and they're gonna see like, look, you have experience of a full stack blockchain developer full time. They know you have a job, you're hireable based on LinkedIn. They see that you have endorsed skills, and most importantly, they also see that other people recommend you. And when a recruiter comes here, they're like, okay, this guy already has a job, so he's the best candidate to get another job. If you don't have a job, then it becomes very difficult. And this is awesome. Like, thanks for sharing your LinkedIn with us. Very amazing. And this is kind of what, like, when I say, you say you've been doing it 7 to 8 months, you present yourself as a professional who've been in the field for a long time. And this is kind of what I talked about at the beginning of the live stream, talking about this whole idea of making sure that you present and market yourself in the most professional way possible. And that is great. That is amazing. And of course, I honestly do get a lot of recruiters messaging me all the time, bro, and that's because of how you're presenting on your LinkedIn, and you have a job, you have endorsements, and I didn't look at your resume yet. I'm sure it's on here somewhere. You have like, but I'm sure you have a resume somewhere. You have your LinkedIn, and so you're presenting a professional image. So before I go, guys, let me just kind of check the comments here. Artur, what's up? Hello, Paul. Great to see you. Aggregation pipeline. I'm not too familiar with what you mean by that. I'll have to like read up. So I'm not sure about that answer for you. Listen, code on blocks, bro. I also did sales. I did marketing, and this, I will tell you that 80% of you getting a job is your ability to market and sell yourself. And people might argue with me, but they're developers that nobody knows about because they lack the ability to market and sell themselves. And this is kind of why I wanted to talk about this stream. And before I go, yeah, that's so funny. They figure it out. I think they go on the job website where they see a listing of employees and then they just spam you. I used to basically take the recruiters that email me at work and then email their email to some spammer or something like that and let them take over. I don't know if that's normal to do, but it worked for me. Like, let spammers handle spammers. But guys, before I go, just because we're on this thing, like, having a good presentation is very important. So the most minimum thing that you guys have to have, anybody who's still left in chat, and I'm going to go in a few minutes, but I want to just say this. If you haven't smashed the like button, smash the like button, not for me, but for everybody that's been engaging in our phenomenal conversation. Thanks for Code on Blocks sharing his amazing LinkedIn. So here's the thing. I go to paulbrasovsky.com. This site, I got it from a portfolio, Bootstrap made. I call this my resume site, and eventually you could add your portfolios here. There's a way for people to connect you. So you need to have yourname.com. You need to have like some sort of resume website. You could have an about section. They could talk about your skills. Please don't call me, guys, but I do, blah, 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 blah. Second thing you must have is you must have a GitHub that is active. You cannot have vacant GitHub and call yourself a developer. I mean, you can, but it'll be very hard to get people believe you. And then the third thing you could have that you must have your LinkedIn. And I'm gonna talk about how to beef up your LinkedIn based on my experience. I notice that my LinkedIn account almost no different than Adrian LinkedIn account. And because there's a formula that we use that present us in a very professional way. If you looked at my LinkedIn, you looked at his LinkedIn, and when I said, man, you must have been doing this for a while, I was basing that on his LinkedIn image, even though he said he's been doing it 7 to 8 months. And so that's important. So if you're starting out, guys, if you don't have these three things, number one, set up a simple resume website. Just get a template. I went to React Made and got a template. Number two, make sure you have GitHub and you're committing stuff. And make sure that you also are on LinkedIn and you're working your darnest to work on your LinkedIn profile to organize it and make it look the best that you can, to make you look like the web professional that you want to become, even though you're not. So guys, and thank you for sharing your GitHub link. I'm gonna definitely check it out when I get a chance. But guys, if you haven't smashed the like button, I get it. I got a lot of bugs on my stuff too. It happens. But the fact that you're putting yourself out there, that's the most important part. By the way, guys, we've been going on strong. If you're just joining us late, man, we're almost hitting 2-hour mark. My voice is starting to go. And what I want to say, guys, is this. You all are able to get to your goal, but it will require work. If you watch YouTube channels that talk about the hype, in 3 months you could do this, don't believe the hype. Whatever you decide to do, if it's worth doing, it's going to be hard. It's going to take a lot of effort. You have to understand, as a developer, you're going to have a chance to make a great living. And nobody gets paid $80,000, $100,000, $150,000 for doing simple, basic things. So you have to understand, when you start, it's going to be hard. You got to develop the skill that people are looking for to get hired. And once you have that skill, just like in my case, just like in Adrian's case, you have your good LinkedIn profile, you're building your experience, people are going to start reaching out to you with jobs, and you're going to get there. But with that being said, it's not smooth sailing by just showing, by doing the minimum. You have to do as much as you can. You have to put as many, balls in the basket in your favor. I don't know what the saying is, but you have to kind of align yourself to make sure that you put everything in your favor. LinkedIn, GitHub, your resume site, have a blog like I shared earlier before, where you're sharing your articles that you write on coding on your LinkedIn. Build your professional image on LinkedIn. Start getting connected with recruiters, and I will talk more about this. But with that being said, guys, look, I love all of you guys, and Code on Block says, amazing tips. Thank you for everything, by the way. Your vids really helped me on my journey. Bro, thank you so much. I appreciate all of you guys. And listen, I want to be the most positive, motivating, coding, YouTube random guy that kind of knows what he's doing but really doesn't, but does it in such a positive way that you just all like drawn to it, and you love the fact that I'm so positive that you're like, man, why can't I be and you just do stuff, and you just do the work, you do what you need to do, you get the stuff done, you build your portfolio, you go to the interviews, you get hired, you make bajillion dollars, and then you just, you know, like, I like Paul so much, I'm gonna buy his dumbass course he's gonna release. Or I like Paul so much, just to chat with him, I'm gonna pay for his one-on-ones and talk about React, you know? So that's the whole goal. And I want to say, you guys are the most positive community I've been part of. I thank you so much, and I love you guys so much. And with that being said, I want to thank everybody who came in. And Taki Emmanuel says hello. If a bunch of you guys are joining in late, guys, listen, I've been on for 2 hours. You could always watch these streams again at any time. They're posted on my YouTube channel. If you want to support the channel, just watch my videos whenever you get a chance, if they're valuable to you. And Web Dev Junkie, you have an amazing channel. Thank you for stopping by. Lucky, always amazing. Arthur stopped by. Great to see you, my man. Like, all of you guys, man, thank you. Boo, like, everybody. Like, we got such great conversations. So many people. NCH stopped by. Man, the list goes on, and there was more. We got Team 908. We had Go Crazy Go Stupid stop by, which was interesting. Hologram Nunchuck stop by. We had Emmanuel stop by. Like, so many people. And I love you guys so much. With that being said, thank you so much. I'm on every Saturday, 6 p.m. Central Time. And then Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. Central Time, where we do actual coding and talk about the portfolio dev hunt that I'm building. I want to thank you for your time. I hope wherever you are, you guys have the greatest, best rest of your weekend. And remember, life is short, so definitely study hard, but also give yourself some time to enjoy the little things in life. So with that being said, I love you all. See you guys later. I always forget the end button, the finish button. Okay, before I click finish, how many likes can we get? Smash the like button. Let's see it. How many likes can we get before I end the stream? By the way, if you're jumping in late, I'm sorry. This is the end of the stream. It is time to go. You could watch the stream again, and you could rewind it and watch it forwards again. Thank you guys so much. Really appreciate you all. Have a good night. God bless. Lots of love. I love to talk to you guys so much that I have a hard time pressing the finish button. That's a weakness of mine. I could chat with you guys forever. Okay, guys. Have a great one. See you guys later. Take care.